Hello everybody, this is Abraham with North Shore Computer Services, and what we have today is a Lenovo laptop. This is just the top of the laptop, and the hinges, it's a Yoga hinges on this laptop fell off. This is the mounting point on the inside of the screen. So the laptop's taken apart, and everything that's holding the top to the bottom is basically glue that's under this metal piece. The glue, of course, fell off, and from wiggling back and forth, and the computer was dropped. You can see here that it's bent. So this fell off first. The whole screen was wobbling, and then this fell off. It's a really poor design by Lenovo. In fact, this is not just Lenovo. This kind of design is used by almost every manufacturer. And the reason that they do it is because they can. There's nothing stopping them from basically doing crappy work like this. Currently, this piece is held in there. You can see that the back is lifted a little bit, and that's because while it was still attached, it bent as the screen was being closed. It's irrelevant for what we're doing. I could have straightened it out, but really makes no difference for the job that I'm about to do. Currently, this one is held in by just a super glue. I have tried to use an epoxy, and I've cleaned it. It does not hold. I don't know what type of epoxy or glue they're using at the factory, but nothing that I have tried holds. However, super glue works just fine to hold it in place, and the only reason that I need to hold it in place is to know where the screws go. So in the past, this is the hinge, or I should say originally, the hinge was held in place by very special screws. They look like this. They got big hats and very little thread on them. Big hats basically just hold it in place and don't allow this hinge to slip off. But because this whole metal contraption is held in place by just glue, it doesn't matter what type of screws you use. What we're gonna do is this. I've done one side. You can see that this side is held in place by nuts, and this side has screws sticking out. This computer was about $1,000, so you still want to use it. There's nothing wrong with the machine itself, just the hinges. The whole screen can be replaced, can be purchased. Just the back part can be purchased, but why? You got to pay about $150 for this unit here. It will break again because the new unit will have this glued in there. Or a used unit, it will not hold for very long. Just keep that in mind. This is no matter what you do, this unit will eventually break. But not the way I fix it. The way I fix it is I use screws like this that go right through the metal and are held in by the nuts. And since this is metal, it's basically gonna hold it in place. And let's go through the procedure of how I do it to get the bracket, this bracket, attached to the panel firmly, securely, and permanently. Let's begin. The tools that we're going to need to use for this job is Dremel, couple of bits, and the bits that I use, or the bit for screws that I use, is slightly smaller than the screws themselves. And what that allows me to do is use the back metal to thread it in there so it holds in there a little better. Let's see, we are going to get the battery. We're gonna put our bit in there, make sure that it's centered, and we're just gonna drill through the holes. So I use this metal bracket to basically give me the alignment where to go. So, all right, stay. I'm just gonna clean it up. We are going to use this big bit to just remove some of this leftover metal so it's nice and clean. All right, garbage. Okay, this is first part. Next part, we're gonna need a screwdriver and just put this nice, by the way, the screws I got from Ace Hardware. They were about $1/4 a piece. Now there's a trick in here, and a trick is to have the screw align with the thread, because this bracket has threads inside of it. And usually what happens is if you put it in and it's not threading properly, just go back and put it in again. One is in place. Number 2. All right, that seems like it. Okay, it goes in. That was super glue cracking. There is no way to make this job absolutely perfect. So super glue is only used for an alignment and not to hold down that metal plate. There are other videos on my channel where I use the body of the computer, plastic piece. This one seems to be going right in. To fix the hinges, manufacturers do not want computers to work for a very long time. And if electronics works, then they make these body parts fail. Okay, next we're going to put our hinge in place and put our nuts. So at first I wanted to use the nuts with washers. Washers will of course give much better coverage and hold down the pieces together better. However, on this particular machine we don't have almost any room for the height, because the screen is sitting so close to these screws that it's not even funny. I don't know if the nuts are maybe too thick, because if we look at the original screws, they're very thin. My nuts are much my nuts are thicker. All right, that's tight. We're going to use pliers to really tighten this, because I don't have the exact match for my nuts. I don't have the driver for this, but pliers will work just fine. Don't need too much torsion. Okay, next I'm gonna remove our drill bit and put a grinder, and we're gonna take down this leftover screw stubs. Yeah, battery-powered Dremel is not the best thing, but it does the job. Okay. Here's that. Here's that. Let's put them so they don't scratch. And last, just gonna shave it. So over time, this contraption will wiggle itself and make itself loose. So we are not planning to take it apart, if this breaks, and believe me, I do have customers that have broken things like this. We're gonna lock in place the nuts and bolts by just yanking. What that does is it expands the top of the bolt just enough for nut not to come off. Oops. Whoa. All right. It works. I hope I put them on correctly. That would be very sad if I swap these two around, but I don't think I did. So let's hope that this, oh, I zapped it a little bit with Dremel. Okay. Well, that's all there is to it. So I just repeated this on both sides, and what we have now is the back that has visible screws. They're not ugly screws, but most importantly, the computer is tight. The hinges are in place. Hopefully this helps somebody. Sorry for shaky video, but the idea is that you can fix the computer without having to buy new parts. So if you like the video, give me a like, enjoy, and always save money.